Zen fam, today is a special day, a happy day for Zenblock. Why might you ask? Well, because a game that I loved back in the day has had its 10-year anniversary and it got me thinking. So, what's that game, I hear you ask? Well, if you saw the thumbnail, you probably know. It's the mighty Mod Nation Racers. I love this game. I got to be so creative with it. And it's like, it was just a solid racer. Everything worked really, really well. The tracks worked well, the karts worked well, the customization engines on all the things worked well. It was just a really well put together game that just worked. And it was just fun. It's like, and it was all the joy of the PS3. The PS3. How I remember thee. So yeah, what I'm going to put up next is a bit of video when my phone isn't giving me notifications in the middle of making a video. What I'm going to put up next is a video that I shot 10 years ago. I put this out in October of 2010, and basically what I did was I needed to have a video I could link to on forums, because there were forums back then for like Mod Nation Racers where, like, you know, you go, I'm making stuff, look at my stuff, ooh, so you can get people to vote on your creations and download your creations. I mean, this was the very start of the Sony whole UGC movement, user generated content. So yeah, I was right in there. So I made a little video. I basically pointed my digital camera at my old telly. Oh god. And I pointed my camera at my telly, filmed it for about 8 or so minutes, going through all the little dudes I made and all the karts I'd made. Post that point, I'd obviously made a good chunk more, but I was very proud of my creations and I wanted more people to download them, so I made a video that I could link to. This video was long before the Zenblock channel started. I'd made a couple of videos at that time trying to sort of like do a thing later on, but the channel never really went anywhere because I never did anything with it. And then a couple of years later I decided, you know what, I'm going to try again, and that is where the Back in the Saddle video was, and when me starting this channel like 8 years ago. 8 years. Where's it go? You know, I'll tell you where it goes. Over 650 videos, that's where it goes. Anyway, so what I've had to do is I've found that old video, I've cropped it. I wasn't able to like position it, so it was a little bit squinty, and because it was me shooting like a 8 megapixel digital camera at my telly, the colours are not so solid, so when you see things like the Tron guy and the Tron car, you can't see all the lovely Tron lines because the colour just doesn't pick up, and like you can't see all the lovely detail like I did Henry Rollins' back tattoo, you know, the Search and Destroy, and trust me, at the time it looked amazing, but you can't really see it so good because the camera can't pick it up so good because it's filming a TV. I mean, the TV I was filming on was running at 1080i, you know, an LCD display 1080i TV, so the quality for that, which I was trying to film, was not high enough. It was great for looking at, but once I got my new telly, you know, obviously I outshone it, but I'm still behind. I mean, I'm only running 1080p, you know, on like a 200 quid JVC, so it's like, it'd be nice if I had a good telly, but you know, maybe one of these days I'll have some actual money. But enough of my woes. So up next is 8 or so minutes of me back in the day, before I was a YouTuber, before I knew how to talk on a video, being very, very proud of my creations and trying to get other Mod Nation Racer users downloading my creations so I could be all, ooh, look at me on Mod Nation Racers. Simpler times. Anyway guys, here comes the footage. Enjoy. Hey guys, so it looks like the audio didn't actually come through in the recording, so I'm going to have to do it this way. So this was my little gort from The Day the Earth Stood Still. It's hard to make it the details because of the resolution issues, but I just love the editing tools. Next up you'll see a few other little guys coming up and along. It's like, that's the Tron Racer. Unfortunately, like I said before, you can't see the details because, well, resolution, ancient digital camera 10 years ago, yada yada yada. And it was just a lot of fun. It was such an easy tool to use. You could do so much. I mean, like, this is when I started to really get an idea of how many layers of things I could pile on top of other things, and how much I could really just sort of like expand things out and mix colour schemes and textures and stuff. And then it sort of like really started to take off. Like here I've done Scorpion from Mortal Kombat, and of course wherever you have Scorpion you also have, wait for it, Sub-Zero. Yeah, so I've got Sub-Zero in there. It's like, it's the back of the head that still annoys me to this day. It's like, how did I miss the back of the headband? But you know, you gotta have a little bit of something. I mean, it's Mortal Kombat old style. Then this guy was just like a good sort of standard idea for things I wanted to do later. I wanted to see what I could pull off, and this was a cracking example of what you could do. And if I remember correctly, I think up next, yeah, I had to go at making the wife. So that's my missus in Mod Nation Racer form. And she's always liked the idea of, she's always loved like rodents and that stuff, so I gave her mouse ears. That one was a really good one. I forget what I called a lot of these, but they all had titles, so it's really getting interesting there with the use of the texture mapping. That was the cyber one, yeah, that was really cool. It's like really got all the netting bits together, and it's like all the colours just really popped. That was just a proof of concept to see what I could do with the head sculpting, and it was just, you know, I think that might have been a commission, but I think someone might have asked me to make that one. Oh, that was the one I made. That was the blackest of all black. So it was like completely dark. There's no Vanta black available, unfortunately, but that was as black as black I could go. Then I made myself. I wasn't able to put on the buff light because that was not an option. I put my martial art name, my stuff, and I put my Zenbloke name because that's, even though I wasn't having the Zenbloke channel yet, I still used a lot of stuff under the name of Zenbloke. So yeah. Oh, that one, that was the best head sculpt I ever did. I went absolutely bananas on it. I took everything to the absolute limit of the sculpting, so tried to make it as wide as possible. I thought maybe it might make it hard for other people to pass me on the track. And I went for, this one was a really good one for colour scheme. So bold and bright, so you could really see it across, you know, the other end. This was another one with large head sculpting and interesting body sculpt. It's sort of like, I love the way you could lay down these maps. It's just, and I love the eyepieces of like some sort of evil robot from a science fiction movie. That one was, this one I remember at the time actually got me a few likes. I think quite a lot of people liked this one just because it was so contrasty, you know, it really just popped. The ears were cool as well. And then I made Leeloo Dallas from The Fifth Element. I was very proud of that one. Because The Fifth Element's just a brilliant movie. It's like, I remember trying to impersonate her at the time when the film goes, Leeloo Dallas Multipass. Oh, and I made the tick. Yeah man, the tick. Love the tick. I wanted to do Arthur, but I could never figure out how to do the wings on the back because you couldn't add anything to the backs because it was just textures. And there goes my phone again. Another message. Oh, Sly Mr. Heyman from Gwar. I wanted to do more of the Gwar people, but it's just really, really hard. I'm kind of hoping at some point somebody does some Gwar stuff on Dreams. That'd be cool. I wanted to do that, but I just can't make it really happen on Dreams. Oh, the snot version of the Tick. If you know the Tick animated series, then you understand this particular in-joke. Basically, he was a clone. I tried to make the Matrix in Mod Nation Racer form, so I turned a racer into the Matrix code. But try as I might, I could never make the code go down the arms and down the head and down the legs. I could only make it on the torso. And there's what I was talking about, Henry Rollins. So I managed to make Henry Rollins to got his little black flag tattoo in his arm. I did the Search and Destroy tattoo in his back, and if the quality was better, you could see the tattoo. But I don't know why his shorts disappeared here, because most of the time his shorts were all the way across, but this occasion they just disappeared from a good portion of his bottom. Then I made some really cracking cars over the time. Some of them were just like silly ones, and most of them were just me pushing the designs as far as I could. This sort of truck I was very pleased of. I just liked the way it came out. It looked really sturdy and was really hard to pass because I made it really, really wide. But the nice thing about all the karts were they all had the same speed capabilities. And they all had the same corner capabilities. So it came down to driver skill. Everybody had exactly the same thing. And then like after a while I started to really get into it. I mean, like, this one is a beauty. I really like how that one came off. And there's a couple of really tasty ones. Here's the Tron car, like the Tron bloke. You know, the right shades and everything, but you just can't see the lines. Well, my phone goes off again. And then there was this art car, which looked like something that you'd see out of the Mind of Max school film. This one actually got a few downloads, as I recall. It was just like the digger bit on the front. It was just so aggressive, you know. Just loved the look of it. You know, very much of its time. This one looked like something out of the Wacky Races. And I had some fun with this editor. I really did. This is what made the game have such a long shelf life, is because you could just go in and edit and create forever and a day. There was never any space. Never any lack of space. You could just keep on going. Nowadays you'd probably be sold as a slot for memory. Oh yeah, the Cab of Death. Had to make it like an American Taxi cab, because it's like you couldn't really make a cab that looks like a one here wouldn't be recognisable enough. This was a Saltire car, but it's really hard to make it out. The Lion Rampant's the wrong cut with the wrong shade of red and stuff, and he's not on a yellow background. But you know, it was a Scotland car. It was the one I used a lot. I made some super aggressive ones over time. It just like got bigger and crazier, and you know, the more bits I could have popping out of it, the better. But you were limited to how much you could do. I took this golf cart model and just went nuts with it. Oh man. Oh yeah, and then there's this hot rod one. If I remember rightly, the next one should be the Gwar van. And I love Gwar. So, yeah, of course I had to make a Gwar van. So it's like a tour van, you know? Hot rod, flames, 2 intercoolers, big Gwar logo on the back. It's just tasty. That was a good Jeep. I can't remember what I called it, but all the ones I just tried to make sure they had impact on the track. But there was a lot of share for share, like for like, so it was hard to get seen, you know, in the Mod Nation versus scene unless you had a lot of friends that were prepared to share your stuff. But nonetheless, it was a giggle back in the day. So, as you can see, had a lot of fun back then. And yeah, just good stuff. Good memories, great gaming. I just wanted to share that with you guys. A little trip down memory lane for me, you and the rest of the gaming community that's been here a while. Maybe someday that we'll get backwards compatibility for PS3 on PlayStation 5, and there'll be a digital version or re-release of Mod Nation Racers for me to have and have all that fun again. And maybe I'll be able to download my old creations. Who knows? If I can, I most certainly will. Some of them all need a bit of an update. Maybe I'll get more tools. Maybe I'll be able to make the rest of Gwar. Who knows? Anyway guys, you know the drill. Hashtag support Scottish YouTubers. And of course, as always, aye, nae bother.